This broadcast is entirely fictional. All names, characters, locations, and events are products of imagination, created only for storytelling and dramatic effect. Any similarities to real people, places, or situations are purely coincidental. The content is not meant to harm, insult, or single out any person, group, community, or belief. Listener discretion is advised. Drop a comment. Tell me where you're listening from and what time it is for you. I don't know why it's so satisfying to read where people are watching from at 3:39 a.m., but it is. It's 2:14 in the morning. I'm still broadcasting from what used to be the tech wing of an old college campus on the east side of Fairbanks, Alaska. Most of the building's gone quiet now, too quiet. But this room, this signal, still runs off a stripped-down backup system powered by car batteries, a wind rig, and a few lucky pieces of hardware that weren't fried when the grid collapsed. I don't know how long I'll be able to stay on air, but I'll keep talking until I can't. The temperature outside, it's 112 degrees Fahrenheit. That's not a mistake. That's not the heat index. That's the real air temperature. It's nearly pitch black too, not because the sun hasn't risen. No, we're supposed to have sun by now. It's the sky. Something's happened to it. Smoke, ash, maybe something else. No stars, no light, just this suffocating gray veil hanging over everything. There's no breeze tonight, no birds, no bugs, no engine hum from trucks trying to get ahead of the heat. Just silence and the dull ticking of this fan behind me, spinning slower every hour. If you're listening, if you're out there, I want you to know this is real. This isn't a test. This isn't a movie or some post-apocalyptic podcast stunt. Something's changed, and whatever this is, it isn't temporary. It started 6 days ago. That's when the first reports came in. Not from the usual places. No alerts from NOAA. No official warnings from any government weather bureau. Just a few strange headlines popping up online. Sudden stratospheric collapse over northern hemisphere. Unexpected solar interaction with polar vortex. Temperature spike anomalies recorded from Greenland to Manitoba. Most people didn't even read the articles. I did. At first, I thought it was just more of the usual climate panic. But this is different. The first real sign something was wrong came that night. There was a strange hum in the air, like a pressure wave rolling through. People in Anchorage said their radios buzzed like they'd been hit with a shortwave pulse. In Seattle, people said the skies shimmered like oil on water. Then came the blackout. Every major station west of the Rockies went silent. No signal, no static, no emergency broadcast tone. Just dead air. And then, the heat. I know it's ironic. I know what the title of this broadcast says, Ice Age Apocalypse. But that's exactly what makes this so goddamn terrifying. The models said it was supposed to cool. That's what the collapse of the jet stream meant, right? A sudden cooling. A global chill. The next little ice age. But it didn't happen that way. Instead, the cold air that used to swirl around the poles collapsed inward, and with it, the balance holding the rest of the planet's atmosphere in check just snapped. The stratosphere folded in on itself and shoved all that trapped heat back down to the surface like a reverse vacuum seal. Now, the cold is trapped high above us, and we're cooking down here like meat sealed under plastic wrap. I had a friend. She worked at the UAF Climate Research Center. Her name was Sarah. She called me the night it started, sounding breathless, half panicked, talking faster than I've ever heard her talk. She said, "We were wrong. We were wrong about everything. And then she started talking about something called a tropopause inversion, something about the ozone fracturing and redirecting long-wave radiation inward instead of out. I didn't really understand most of it, but I understood her voice. I'd known her for 10 years. That night was the first time she sounded like she believed we weren't going to make it. Then the line went dead. Nobody's heard from her since. Since then, we've been watching this place unravel one system at a time. On day 2, the power grid failed across most of Canada and the northern US. The backup plants couldn't hold. Something about the load balancing algorithms freaking out with the heat surges. Or maybe it was a cyber attack. Nobody said anything official. Cell networks followed within hours. The towers overheated, or the control nodes shut themselves down to avoid electrical fires. I don't know. I'm not an engineer. But what I do know is that now, 6 days later, you can't call anyone unless you've got a working ham rig, and even those are starting to fade. Hospitals, gone. Food shipments, gone. Emergency services? What emergency services? On day 4, I watched a convoy try to move through the city. 7 trucks, 4 military, 3 civilian. They were trying to evacuate the medical center, mostly elderly and critical care patients. But the asphalt on the main highway had liquefied in the heat. Tires started melting, engines failed, and then the people inside those trucks just stayed. Because there was no way to walk through the heat. You can't. You can't breathe in this kind of air without burning your lungs. I tried to get to them. I really did. But I passed out halfway across the parking lot. Woke up 5 hours later with second-degree burns on the side of my face that was exposed to the sun. I haven't left the basement level since. None of us have. That's something else. I should have said this earlier. There are 4 of us down here. Me, 2 students who were working the campus radio program when this all hit, and a janitor named Vincent. He's the one who showed us how to rig the power bank from car batteries. He doesn't talk much, but without him, we wouldn't still be alive. We've got some food, a water filter, not much else. The wind turbine on the roof gives us maybe 2 hours of radio power per night if we don't run anything else. It's enough, for now. This is the part where I wish I could tell you what to do next. Where to go. Who's in charge. Where the safe zones are. But there's nothing. Not even the usual lies from politicians. No FEMA updates, no National Guard broadcasts, no live streams from the Capitol. It's just silent, like they left the stage and forgot to tell the rest of us the show was canceled. What we do have are the calls. Every night we get a few, not many, and sometimes they're too broken up to hear clearly. But they're real people, real voices, still out there. Last night we got one from a man named Danny. He said he was holed up in an old church basement in Casper, Wyoming. He said the church bell melted off its frame. He was boiling rainwater on a camping stove and trying to keep his 3 kids cool by wrapping them in wet towels. He said one of the kids was coughing blood. Said the air felt like it had weight, like it was sitting on his chest. He didn't ask for help. He just wanted someone to know they were still breathing. I think that's all any of us want now. Someone to know we're still breathing. If you're still listening, I want you to stay calm. I know how hard that is right now. I know how tempting it is to just give up. To lie back and close your eyes and pretend this isn't real. But we can't do that. Not yet. We have to stay alert. We have to be smart. Here's what we've learned so far. Keep low. The heat rises. but the air down in basements and sublevels stays a few degrees cooler. Don't run generators during the day. They'll overheat in minutes. Use them at night, and only if you've got ventilation. Don't trust the sky. Whatever's blocking out the light is not protecting you. The UV levels are still through the roof. We measured it yesterday with an old meter from the campus lab. It maxed out in under 10 seconds, even with the smoke cover. That means skin damage in less than 5 minutes. If you have mirrors or foil, use them to redirect heat away from doorways and windows. If you've got chalk or white paint, mark your outer walls. Reflective surfaces help more than you'd think. If you're trying to grow anything, keep it shaded. Everything exposed is burning. Even the moss. I've never seen moss burn. And if you're lucky enough to be near water, protect it. Cover your barrels. Bury your reserves. The evaporation rate is insane. We lost 3 gallons yesterday, just from a cracked lid. If you're in the South, Phoenix, Las Vegas, Houston, I don't know if you're still out there. I really don't. But if you are, and you can hear me, I need to know what it's like down there. If this is bad up here in the north, I can't imagine what it's doing to the southern belt. I'll keep broadcasting as long as I can. If you've got a working ham set, or even a CB with long-wave pickup, try scanning 101.3 FM. That's where I'm putting out most of these updates. If that's not working, try 740 AM. The signal's weaker there, but it's got better range after midnight. If you're listening from Canada, I've been hearing rumors. Rumors that some of the northern provinces have gone dark entirely. Saskatchewan, Alberta. Places that should have had snow this time of year are now hitting 90 degrees at midnight. People are saying the ice fields melted in under 48 hours. That's not just bad news for them. That's the kind of mass displacement that'll send the rest of us reeling. Anyway, I need to switch over power to recharge for the morning, but I'll be back. I'll be back every night I can. We're not gone yet. Not all of us. Keep cool. Keep breathing. Don't give up. This is the frozen world now. It's 3:22 a.m. I'm back on the air. Barely. Power came on late tonight. Wind died down earlier than usual. Vincent had to climb the northeast stairwell again to realign the rig after a gust spun the blade into the side rail. We were scared it had snapped, but it's still holding. If it goes, this whole setup goes with it. We've got maybe 1 or 2 more days of juice before the batteries degrade past usable. But it's quiet again. For now. And I need to talk. I need to get this down while it's still fresh. Maybe someone's listening. Around 1 a.m., the air outside dropped. Not in temperature, just in weight. That's the best way I can describe it. Like something heavy got lifted. For the first time in days, we cracked the emergency hatch in the janitor's crawl space. It's only 6 inches wide and covered with 3 layers of blackout cloth, but it let in a draft. And for once, it didn't feel like a furnace. We took turns breathing near it. Not sticking our heads out, just being near it. It's strange how air can taste like something. This tasted clean. No burning plastic. No electric tang. Just wind. I don't know what that means. I'm afraid to get hopeful. But then the scanner picked something up. We've had the military band running in the background for days. Static, mostly. And sometimes weird clipped signals. What we think might be burst transmissions or maybe just system errors. But tonight, we got a voice. Clear. Flat. Male. Said, Unit 9 confirmed lost. Repeat, Unit 9 confirmed lost. Evac route compromised. Denver Command falling back to Red Line 2. Repeat, fall back to Red Line 2. Civilians not cleared. Maintain visual suppression. Then static again. We played it back 3 times. It's real. It's not a glitch. That was less than an hour ago. If anyone's in Colorado, if anyone knows what Red Line 2 is, please call in. Please. Because that wasn't a rescue order. That was a retreat. I need to say this out loud now, because I don't think we've admitted it to ourselves. There's no one coming to save us. Not this time. That's what today taught me. Earlier this afternoon, we got a visitor. That's not normal. No one's been down here except us for 6 days. The surface is too dangerous. But just after sunset, someone knocked on the old maintenance door that leads into the western stairwell. We froze. I thought it might be heat stroke playing tricks on me. I didn't say anything. But then it came again. 3 knocks. Pause. Then 2 more. I grabbed the wrench. Vincent had the extinguisher. One of the kids, Kayla, had the old handheld scanner. We didn't speak. We just waited. Then we heard the voice. She said her name was Melissa. Said she'd been walking since Monday. Said she followed our signal. We opened the outer door, just a crack. She was there. Real. Human. Eyes puffy, lips cracked, skin raw from exposure. She had on 2 coats, wrapped in some kind of reflective windshield tarp. Said she'd been surviving off bottled water she stole from a disabled vending truck on the bypass. She hadn't eaten in 2 days. We let her in. She cried when she saw the light. Not because it was bright, because it was warm. She sat on the floor and held her hands up to the backup lantern and cried like a kid finding their way home. We fed her. Slowly. Just a bit of rehydrated soup to see how she'd handle it. She thanked us every few seconds. Couldn't stop. Then she told us what she saw out there. She said the roads were empty, but not clean, not cleared. She saw cars melted into pavement, door handles that had warped and sunk into the metal frames, asphalt bubbling under tire treads, skulls in passenger seats scorched white. She said the sun came down at angles that didn't feel normal, that the shadows weren't consistent, that they stretched like ribbons across the hills. She passed by a high school with windows that had burst inward from the heat and found a stash of water bottles near the lockers. Whoever put them there had written a note in marker on the floor. Come back after sundown. We're watching from the auditorium. But when she checked that side of the building later that night, it had burned out. She never saw anyone. She said she hasn't seen another living person in 3 days. But here's the part I can't stop thinking about. She said the sky is changing color. Not at sunrise or sunset. In the middle of the day. Like a pulse. Like the light flickers in different shades. Not blues. Not oranges. Colors she couldn't name. She said it made her feel sick when it happened. Dizzy. Like time skipped. She said it's only started in the last 48 hours. She thinks it's connected to the magnetic field. That's what she said. I didn't ask where she got that idea. But she said her ears ring when it happens. That her fillings hurt. That birds fell out of the sky in front of her, twitching, seizing. She used to be a vet tech. Said she recognized the symptoms from animals with neurological inflammation. I don't know if it's true, but it scares the hell out of me. We gave her the cot in the corner. She's asleep now, still twitching. Her hands clench sometimes, like she's reliving something. I hope we didn't bring death through that door. But it's hard to care right now. She's alive. That's enough. I want to talk about what happened with the radio tower tonight. For anyone listening in from northern Canada, you might have felt this too. Around 10:20 p.m., we lost signal completely. Not just our station, the entire band. Every frequency went dead. Just blank. No static, no hiss, no background hum. It was like someone turned off the concept of radio itself. Then, 30 seconds later, boom. The tower next to the old student union went up in flames. No explosion, just ignition. Like it had reached a flashpoint all at once. Aluminum skeleton warped in seconds. The antenna melted down the side like wax. We watched from the stairwell hatch. You could feel the heat even underground. No lightning, no sparks, no human error. It just caught fire. That means something. I don't know what yet. But it wasn't natural. Towers don't just burn on their own like that, especially when they're not active. We salvaged what we could from the backup gear closet. That's how we're still broadcasting. But it's temporary. We can't replace anything that breaks now. This is going to sound crazy, but I need to get it out. I think something in the upper atmosphere is changing the way energy flows. Not just heat, not just light, but the behavior of electricity itself. We had a battery pack, brand new, never used, short out yesterday for no reason. Just fizzled. It wasn't even plugged in. And the scanner has started picking up pulses that don't match anything on the known spectrum. I wrote down one of them. It repeated 5 times over the span of an hour. 132/0.118/0.098/132/0.118. It doesn't match a signal ID, at least not from any guide I know. But the timing of it, it's regular, like a heartbeat or a countdown. I'll keep watching. I have to say this out loud. I think we passed the point of recovery days ago. I think the world we knew is gone, burned from the inside out. And the weird part is, it's not even fire that did it. It's pressure. That's what this feels like now. Like the earth itself is cracking under pressure. We got a shortwave message earlier tonight. Could barely make it out through the interference. It came in on a southern band, unusual for this time of year. The voice identified herself as Layla from Mobile, Alabama. Said she was speaking from a high school basement converted into a shelter. Said they were housing 19 people, mostly seniors and kids. No cooling system, just ice blocks made from rainwater stored underground. She said they've lost 11 people in the last 2 days from organ failure. No visible injuries, no trauma, just systems shutting down from heat stress. She said one man's blood literally cooked in his veins. Their last thermometer broke yesterday when it read 123. Layla ended the message with this. It's like the sun stopped caring. That hit me harder than I thought it would. I keep wondering where everyone is, the real ones, the leaders, the scientists, the people who are supposed to show up when something like this happens. The truth is, I think they've gone underground, literally. Bunkers, government shelters, deep sites no one talks about. I wouldn't even blame them. This heat isn't survivable anymore, not for long. But what about the rest of us? What about the people who didn't get an invitation? I keep thinking about how many of us won't even be remembered. No gravestones, no names on a list, just gone. And yet, somehow, people are still holding on. Melissa did. Layla did. Danny from Wyoming. That guy who called in from Kansas City 2 nights ago and told us how he used duct tape to build a swamp cooler out of a toilet fan and a wet towel. We're still trying. Even now. So if you're hearing this, I want you to write this down. These are the names of people still alive, still fighting, still breathing. Melissa, Fairbanks, Alaska, Layla, Mobile, Alabama. Danny, Casper, Wyoming. Tommy, Kansas City, Missouri. Unknown voice. Sunset Hill. We don't know the city, but the voice said those words before cutting out. That's 5 people. And us. 4 in this room. We're not done yet. This is the new world. It's not cold. Not like they said it would be. But it's still an ice age in its own way. Cold in the sense that the systems we counted on are gone. Cold in the way people have gone silent. Cold in the way the sky looks back at you now, like it doesn't recognize you anymore. But you're still here. So am I. I'll be back on at 4:30 if we've got the charge. If not, then sometime tomorrow night. We'll make it work. Keep your mirrors up. Keep your air filtered. Watch the sky. And don't give up. This is still your world. This is the frozen world. It's 4:52 a.m., still no sunrise. We should be in full light by now. Even with the smoke, there's usually something, an orange glow, or at least a pale smudge across the clouds. But today, nothing. Just darkness stretching out like a tarp pulled over the whole sky. I don't know if it's cloud cover, ash, or something else. But it's like the sun gave up. Like even it doesn't want to see what's left. We got a second wind charge from the rig. Enough to come back on air for a short broadcast. Vincent says one of the fans is grinding now. Bearings probably melted a little in yesterday's spike. He's going to take it apart in the morning. We're rationing power now, 20 minutes at a time. I'm using tonight's slot because something happened, and I need to say it while I still have the words. I think someone nearby broke. I mean really broke. About an hour ago, Kayla, one of the students here, picked up something on the scanner. Weak signal, barely audible. But it repeated. 3 words. Too hot, sorry. It repeated 6 times, then cut out. We boosted the antenna and got a better lock. Transmission was coming from less than a mile away. North Campus housing, maybe. Then, maybe 20 minutes later, we saw the plume. A fire. Big one. Looked like someone poured fuel all over the second floor of one of the dorm buildings and lit a match. No movement. No sounds. Just the fire. Then it collapsed. We haven't gone out to check. We won't. There's nothing we could do now. But we know what that was. We don't need to ask. I don't even know her name. She must have had no more water, or food, or hope. And when the heat presses in like this, when the power's gone, when your body starts to shake from dehydration, and the air hurts to breathe, it makes sense. In some twisted way, it makes sense. But I still hate it, because that should never feel like a reasonable choice. And it does now. That's the part that scares me most. I want to believe we're not animals, that we're more than just meat and reflexes. But in this new world, those ideas get blurry. I still remember when the power went off for good. It was day 3. We waited. We thought maybe it was just rolling outages, the usual summer thing, grid strain. But it didn't come back, and the emergency tones stopped, and the phone lines went quiet. Even the weather station, dead. There's no backup generator big enough to bring back a country, and nobody seems to be running the show anymore. You know what's funny? I used to think we'd see the end coming. Like meteors, nuclear fire, sirens and screaming. But this wasn't loud. It didn't come like that. It came quietly, like someone turning down the volume on the world until all you could hear was your own breath. There's no war, no enemy, just heat and silence. We tried calling the last functioning local government line today, the number that used to be city services. Got a voicemail box still working. Guess it's hosted off-site. The message just said, "You've reached the Department of Civic Response. If you are calling about heat-related emergency conditions, please contact your regional command station. For all other concerns, please remain indoors and await further instructions." There is no regional command station. There is no one coming. I want to tell you about a message we picked up last night. I didn't say anything earlier because I wanted to be sure it wasn't a prank or leftover test broadcast. It was short, pre-recorded, rough audio, probably made on a laptop mic. The speaker identified himself as Dr. Issam Karimi, said he was, or used to be, senior atmospheric scientist at NOAA, based out of the Boulder facility. He said what we're experiencing isn't a traditional atmospheric collapse. He said it's a cascade failure triggered by high-altitude cloud seeding gone wrong. His words, the supersaturation layer was supposed to form a cooling ceiling. Instead, it created a refractive barrier that bends long-wave infrared radiation back to the surface, amplifying heat retention by a factor of 1.8. I didn't catch the science at first, but Vincent explained it. Imagine you put a mirror dome over the planet. Now imagine the dome lets sunlight in but traps all the heat trying to bounce out. That's what they did. Or tried to do. A last-ditch effort to delay warming, to buy time. Instead, they built an oven. The broadcast cut off after that. No location given, no coordinates. But it's out there. Somebody tried to fix the planet, and now we're living in their mistake. We got a call about an hour ago. The kind that sticks with you. Woman, maybe mid-30s. Hard to tell over the static. Said her name was Harper. She's in Nova Scotia. Yes, Canada. She said the sea boiled. Her exact words. The sea boiled. She lives, or lived, less than half a mile from the coast. Said her whole village lost power the same day as us, but they were trying to make it work. Fishing, purifying salt water, using solar reflectors to cook. Then one day, they walked down to the bay to check the crab traps, and the whole shoreline was steaming. Real, thick white steam coming off the waves. Birds were dead. Fish floating. Beach sand warped like glass in some places. She said her skin blistered after 2 minutes. They moved inland that night. She lost her parents during the hike. Heat stroke. Collapsed and couldn't be moved. She buried them in a ditch with her bare hands. She said she hasn't cried since. She just talks. Keeps moving. Keeps transmitting. Said she's headed west. Doesn't know why. Just doesn't want to die by the ocean. She said something else I haven't stopped thinking about. I don't believe the planet's trying to kill us. I think it's trying to make sure we don't come back. She laughed when she said it. I didn't. I want to talk about what we're seeing with the sky now. There's a pattern. We're all noticing it. It's not just smoke. It's not just haze. It moves. Every night, around the same time, between 11:30 p.m. and 1 a.m., the sky pulses, like a dim flash, like something in the upper layers is reacting. Vincent says it looks like auroras, but wrong. Like the wrong color palette. Purples and greens you can't name. And it's silent. Totally silent. If you've seen this too, please call in. We need to understand it. I'm starting to think this isn't just climate failure. I think it's something more. We got a message scrawled in graphite on a sheet of packing paper. Someone slipped it under the locked courtyard gate 2 days ago. No name, no date. Just this sentence. They seeded the stratosphere. Now it's bleeding. What does that mean? I don't know. But it doesn't feel like metaphor. I'm losing my focus. My throat is dry again. Even with our filters and the damp cloths, it's like breathing sand some nights. I'm sorry if I sound worn out. I am. I've slept maybe 4 hours total in the last 2 days. Melissa's still not doing great. Her fever broke yesterday, but now she's coughing up blood. She says she's fine, but she's not. We don't know what's wrong. Could be heat lung. Could be something worse. We don't have antibiotics, just hope. Vincent made her a cooling vest using some aluminum foil and surgical tubing we found in the lab's supply closet. Rigged it with a water bag. Keeps her from overheating. For now. That man doesn't talk much, but he keeps all of us alive. He used to be a field medic. Iraq, I think. Or maybe Afghanistan. He doesn't say. But the way he moves, you can tell he's been through something like this before. Not this exactly. Nothing is like this. But something close enough to know what to do when the world goes wrong. Kayla's working on mapping survivor signals. She's been logging every call in, every ping, every scrap of chatter we get. We've got dots now. Real places, real people. Even if we never see them, they're there. I want to end this transmission with something I heard in a dream. I think it was a dream. It was 2 nights ago. I was half asleep, lying near the battery bank, trying not to think about how loud my own heartbeat sounded. And then I heard a voice, whisper soft, like it was coming through the radio, but the radio was off. It said, "We don't freeze in this ice age. We burn." And then silence. I don't know what that means, but it feels true. I'll be back tomorrow night. If the turbine holds, if the batteries charge, if the world doesn't fold in on itself. Keep your water covered. Keep your lights dim. Keep your mind sharp. This is the frozen world. We are still here. It's 2:47 a.m. The battery's held. Barely. Vincent jury-rigged a bypass using copper wire stripped from the old lab microscope chargers. It bought us 20 more minutes of broadcast time. The wind's still dead outside. No turbines spinning tonight. The air feels thick again, like we're underwater. Like every inhale is being filtered through someone else's lungs. We had to move Melissa. She was seizing earlier, twice. No fever now, but her fingers are going numb, and the whites of her eyes are starting to turn gray. Not red, gray, like something's shutting down inside her. I keep hearing the same 2 words from survivors calling in. Boiling blood. That's what it feels like for most people now. Like the heat isn't just outside anymore. Like it's gotten under the skin. Vincent thinks it might be a kind of protein breakdown. He says once core body temperature hits 106, your blood can start to denature, literally cook you from inside. We've been laying her near the water tank, lining the floor with wet shirts. It's all we can do. She still talks sometimes, mostly gibberish, but earlier tonight, she said a name. Eli. I think it's her son, or her husband, or maybe just someone she lost. I didn't ask. We got a signal earlier, not a voice, Just a ping. A digital echo on frequency 97.1. Modulated, encrypted. Vincent says it matches military handshake patterns. Not American, Canadian. But something's different. The return ping doesn't have the right timing. He thinks it's automated. Or maybe worse, intercepted. We tried replying with the standard ID burst, got nothing back. Either the station's unmanned or whoever's on the other end doesn't want to talk. Kayla's been sketching the sky again. She says the aurora pulses are starting to form shapes. I told her that was probably just sleep deprivation. She didn't argue, just showed me her notebook. I didn't know what I was looking at until she pointed it out. It was the same pattern we picked up on the scanner 3 days ago. 132/0.1/0.098/132/0.118. She thinks the pulses match it. Light and radio, both following the same timing. She said, "I think someone's trying to say something." I don't know what scares me more, if she's right or if she's not. I want to read a message we got last night, handwritten, folded into a plastic sandwich bag, and taped to the old generator door outside the engineering wing. It says, "I heard your broadcast. You're not the only ones. There's a group of us near Chena Ridge. We've got food, some power, maybe a way out. If you're reading this, signal at 101.3 FM with Morse. 3 long, 2 short. We'll be listening." No name, no date. But the ink was fresh, and the bag wasn't sun-warped. That means someone else is close. Someone who heard us. We sent the Morse ping an hour ago. Still waiting on a reply. If anyone out there knows someone in Chena Ridge, if you're part of that group, please reply. We're not looking for a handout. Just proof we're not insane for holding on. We had another call earlier. Man named Roshan said he was a systems tech at a geothermal plant in Iceland until last month. His accent was light, but the English was clear. Said he was listening to international shortwave. What's left of it anyway? He said something strange. He said the planet's rotation is changing. Not dramatically, not visibly, but enough that orbital measurements are starting to drift. Satellites aren't where they're supposed to be. Ground-to-space pings are lagging, and some amateur stations in Europe are losing track of the sun. He called it thermal tilt. Said the temperature gradient between hemispheres is off balance, and it's pulling the crust, just slightly, just enough to warp the axis. I asked him what that meant, what it leads to. He didn't answer, just said, "This is how planets die." Then he hung up. I keep wondering if this was a mistake, a miscalculation. Is there any way to reverse it? Or is it already locked in? We haven't seen a single official emergency broadcast in 5 days. I think we've reached the blackout phase. That's what FEMA calls it. The point in a level 1 failure, where coordinated information is deemed more dangerous than silence. Once the public can't be managed, the protocol shifts to operational preservation. In short, go quiet. Let the panic burn itself out. Let the people disappear on their own. I hate thinking like that, but the pattern fits. No updates, no orders, no relief. Just darkness and heat. I want to play a voice log we received. It's old, maybe recorded before everything fell apart, but it only came through tonight. The voice is male, mid-40s, calm, controlled. He says, "If this reaches anyone, my name is Dr. Farid Manas. I'm, or was, lead coordinator at the Atacama Monitoring Array in Chile. Our instruments began picking up refracted UV signatures consistent with solar lensing 3 weeks before the first stratospheric collapse. We believed it was a local phenomenon. We were wrong. The anomaly isn't just atmospheric, it's geomagnetic. Something is altering the upper atmospheric charge distribution, and it's changing how radiation behaves inside the magnetosphere. If this continues, the planet's thermal equilibrium will shatter, and we won't freeze, we'll cook. Slowly, quietly, from the inside out. Then the file ends. It's dated 18 days ago. I wonder if he's still alive. I need to say something. Earlier tonight, I almost gave up. I was sitting in the stairwell, listening to the concrete expand and crack from the heat. I could feel the sweat dripping from the back of my neck. My vision was blurring from dehydration. And for 1 second, just one, I thought, maybe I should just stop. Maybe I should lay down and let it happen. Because I'm tired. I'm so tired. But then I heard a sound I haven't heard in a week. Laughter. Melissa. She was laughing. Weak, raspy, but real. She was talking in her sleep, saying something about lemon snow cones and a dog named Jellybean. And I realized she's still dreaming. She still has something left. If she can laugh in a dream, maybe I can hold on one more night. So I came back down, and I turned the mic back on. Because someone might be listening. You might be listening, and I owe it to all of you. Every single voice we've heard, every person still breathing out there, to keep going. Even if it's just words in the dark, even if it's the last light we've got, we are not gone. Not yet. This is the frozen world, and we're still in it. I'll be back. It's 3:41 a.m. Still dark, still nothing from the ridge. We sent another signal burst just after midnight. 3 long, 2 short, same as they asked. No reply. It's been 16 hours. We're hoping the message was just delayed. Maybe they had to move. Maybe their equipment burned out. Maybe they're listening, just not ready to talk. But maybe not. The thing is, hope starts to feel like a luxury after a while, like something you shouldn't waste energy on. Melissa hasn't spoken since yesterday. Her breathing's gone shallow. Skin's gone almost waxy now, like it's losing moisture from the inside. I keep checking her pulse, even though I know it won't help. I think part of me just wants the confirmation that she's still in there. I keep thinking about how much we take for granted when the world works, like a doctor just being down the road, a grocery store across the street, a fan, a wet rag, just the idea that something could be fixed. Now it's all improvisation. We're all survivalists now, whether we wanted to be or not. Kayla's been sleeping 2 hours at a time at most. She stays up listening to static, logging every twitch of signal like it means something. Her eyes are bloodshot. She started tying her shirt sleeves around her wrists because she says the skin feels like it's buzzing. Vincent keeps patching the turbine. The noise it makes when it catches the wind now is like this low groan, like metal remembering pain. We got another call tonight from a woman in Boston. Her name was Clara. Late 60s, maybe early 70s. She sounded like she used to be a teacher. You could hear it in the way she spoke. Slow, careful, like she was choosing each word like a puzzle piece. She said she was one of the last people left inside what used to be the Boston Public Library. Said she'd sealed off the West Wing with fire blankets and was keeping herself cool by sleeping under wet newspapers soaked in saline. She said it's quiet now. No more shouting, no more sirens, just the faint ticking of old pipes cooling unevenly in the heat. She said the Charles River is gone. Not dry, gone. Evaporated. She stayed on the line for 11 minutes. She recited poetry, told us about a story she used to read to her students when they were learning about the seasons. She said, "This isn't summer. This is something else." Then she stopped. I thought we lost the call. But she came back. Last thing she said was, "There's a light in the ceiling now, where the skylight used to be, but it doesn't behave like sunlight." Then she hung up. I keep thinking about that line. Doesn't behave like sunlight. We've been watching the light here too. It pulses now. It doesn't cast shadows the way it used to. It softens everything. Smears it. Like a filter. And it doesn't feel warm. It feels wrong. I want to say something I've been avoiding. I don't know what day it is anymore. We stopped counting after day 10. There's no more clocks that keep accurate time. The solar timers are useless now. The sun doesn't rise the same way. The sky's broken. So now we just count the hours between when the air feels breathable and when it doesn't. We sleep in shifts, eat when our hands stop shaking, and talk into this mic like someone out there still taking notes. But we don't know anymore. This might just be a whisper in a dead world. Still, I'm going to keep reading the names. The names of the people who called. The names we wrote on the board. Because names mean someone existed. Someone lived. Clara, Boston, Massachusetts. Roshan, North Atlantic Shortwave Relay. Harper, Nova Scotia. Layla, Mobile, Alabama. Melissa, Fairbanks, Alaska. Danny, Casper, Wyoming. Tommy, Kansas City. Eden, unknown location, but referenced Crater Road and a burned-out Jeep Cherokee. Hassan, outskirts of Las Vegas, last heard 3 nights ago. Nora, Cleveland, signal too faint to verify. I'll keep reading them as long as I can. Every time I say a name, I feel a little more real, like I'm not just narrating into the void. If you're out there, any of you, I want you to know we remember. We had a weird moment earlier tonight. Something I haven't been able to explain. At exactly 12:17 a.m., the signal meter jumped. Not a spike, not noise, a perfect tone, exactly 440 hertz. Middle A. It held for 10 seconds, then cut. I checked the logs. The timing wasn't random. It was exactly 1 hour after we sent the ridge signal. No metadata, no reply, just that single tone. I don't know what to make of it. We've been calling it the A note. We're going to try replying tomorrow. Kayla's building a response ping. Maybe someone's still trying to talk. Maybe it's automated. Maybe it's just a ghost. But we're going to try. Vincent said something earlier I can't stop thinking about. He was standing at the top of the stairwell, watching the moonlight, or whatever it is now, leak through the blackout curtains. And he said, "I think this isn't just heat. I think we cracked something open." I asked him what he meant. He just shook his head, said, "The planet had systems in place, safety valves, pressure regulators, and we broke all of them." Then he went back to work. He's not the kind of man who talks without reason. So now I'm wondering, what did we crack? What did we let out? I've been having dreams. I don't usually talk about them, not on air. But lately, they're getting louder, more vivid. The last one, I was walking down a hallway made of glass. Beneath me was earth, scorched and black. Above me was water, thick, endless water, and there were voices in it. Not speaking words, just vibrations, like whale song tuned too high. And then I saw people floating up there, like they'd drowned in the sky. I woke up gasping. My sheets were soaked. Not with sweat, condensation, like something cold had passed through. We haven't had cool air in 10 days. I don't know what it means. Maybe nothing. Maybe this is just what happens when your body starts to decay from the inside out. Melissa's breathing just shifted, lighter now, like a whisper. I keep holding the mic close because I don't want to miss it if she says something else. I want you to know. I didn't used to believe in any of this. Not the end of days, not the collapse, not the fragility. I thought systems had backups, that people had fail-safes, that the worst-case scenario always came with a safety net. I don't believe that anymore. But I do believe in you. I believe in whoever is still listening. Because if you're still alive, if you're still breathing in this poisoned heat, you are not weak. You are not forgotten. You are the reason this mic is still on. You are the reason we keep spinning the turbine, changing the filters, watching the sky. You matter. You always did. This is the frozen world, but the voices haven't frozen. Not yet. I'll be back tomorrow, or maybe it's already tomorrow. Time is strange now, but I'll be back. Stay underground, stay shaded. Keep your signal tight. We are still here. It's 4:18 a.m., the ridge responded. They heard us. I don't know how long I've been holding my breath, waiting to say those words. We almost gave up. We almost stopped sending the signal. But just before 3 a.m., it came through. Short burst transmission. Garbled at first, but Kayla cleaned it up through the preamp. 3 words. Confirmed. Repeated twice. Signal received. Alive. Alive. God. Vincent didn't say anything. He just closed his eyes and sat down. Kayla cried. It's not a full conversation. It's not an invitation. But it's the first proof, real proof, that there are still people out there close enough to reach. We sent back a secondary ID, coordinates, basic vitals, power status, then silence. But silence feels different now. Before, it meant isolation. Now, it might mean preparation. We've started getting ready to move. I don't know what that even looks like yet. We can't carry much. We don't know how far it is. But we can't sit here forever either. The turbine's grinding louder. The battery housing smells like warm copper. And Melissa's not improving. If we're going to get her help, it has to be soon. And maybe, just maybe, we weren't supposed to survive this long. Maybe the fact that we're still here means something. I want to believe that. We're starting inventory tonight. Food, water, remaining coolant. Vincent thinks we'll need to rig a rolling sled if we want to move the radio. Kayla's been collecting map fragments and solar shade cloth from the physics lab. It feels like something's waking up in us. Movement again. Purpose. But I need to be honest. I'm scared. Leaving this place, this bunker, this sound booth, it feels like stepping off a ledge we can't see the bottom of. Out there is death. Worse than death. The kind of heat that takes the breath out of your lungs before you even know you're choking. But staying? Staying might mean something worse. dying in place, without trying. I got a voice ping from someone new tonight. Shortwave. Female voice, calm but clipped. Identified herself only as Erin. Location: near St. Louis, Missouri. Said she's part of a group still sheltering in an underground flood tunnel system. Something connected to an old brewery or distillery. Said they've got water, some light. But the air quality's worsening by the hour. Said the ceilings are starting to crack from thermal stress. Said something strange, too. She said, "The sky isn't just dark, it's listening." I asked her what that meant. She said when they tried transmitting an emergency burst at full wattage, the sky above their tunnel shimmered, like the clouds thinned, and for about 10 seconds, the heat surged to 127 degrees. Inside, she said it felt like punishment. I told her that wasn't possible. She said she didn't care. She said, "It hurt us." And it answered. Then she cut the line. I don't know what to make of that. But I keep thinking back to those pulses we saw. Those perfectly timed bands of color in the night sky. That steady middle A on the signal meter. Is it just atmospheric resonance? Or are we dealing with something new? I don't want to go down that road. Not yet. Not tonight. But I'm writing it down, saying it out loud. Because if something's changed in the way the Earth works, we have to be honest about it. Kayla brought up something I haven't thought about in days. She said, "Do you think the ridge has children?" I hadn't considered it. I hope they do. I hope there are still kids somewhere, still drawing on walls, still asking questions, still imagining things instead of surviving them. But then again, maybe they don't. Maybe they're like us, barely holding on, people hardened by the quiet. We found another signal tonight. Weak. Analog AM band. Scrambled, buried under 2 layers of static. But the voice, God, the voice. It sounded like someone reading a story. An old man, maybe 70s. Calm, clear, deliberate. He was reading something about the Arctic Circle, about a place that used to be permafrost and is now ocean. Said something about mammoths being found almost intact. Hair and tissue still soft. Eyelids still in place. He said, "What once froze to preserve now melts to erase." We traced the signal to somewhere in Alberta. No return contact. But it was there. Real. People are still talking, even if they think no one's listening. Vincent started assembling a portable power box tonight. Nothing fancy. Just a sealed lead-acid rig with 2 hand-crank backups. Enough to keep a handheld scanner running, maybe even the small transceiver. He's planning for travel. He hasn't said it, but I can see it. We're all thinking the same thing. The ridge is the last thread. If we don't reach them, I don't know what we do. We can't stay in the walls of a campus basement forever. They're sweating now. The walls. Concrete shouldn't sweat. But there's moisture forming at the edges. Steam condensation. The outside pressure is shifting. We heard a boom earlier. Distant. Could have been a transformer. Could have been a building collapse. But it echoed like a wave. The kind that moves through ground, not air. I want to read another name into the log. Erin, St. Louis Underground. Clara, Boston. Melissa. Here, barely. Kayla. Here, still fighting. Vincent. Here, still fixing. Roshan, System Tech. Layla, Mobile, Alabama. Harper, Nova Scotia. Danny, Wyoming. Eden, unknown. Tommy, Kansas City. Nora, Cleveland. Old Reader, Alberta. AM Band. Every name is a light, even if we never see them again. I don't know what the ridge will say next. Maybe nothing. Maybe we're walking into an illusion, or a trap, or nothing at all. But I'd rather move toward a voice than die next to silence. We're leaving a note, just in case. A broadcast loop, battery powered, on frequency 101.3 FM. Simple message. Tells where we went, what direction. Tells anyone else who finds this place what we tried to do. We'll trigger the loop once we know the batteries won't catch fire. I can't believe I just said that. That's the kind of thing you say now. Not, when is help coming? Not, what's the forecast? But, how hot can a battery get before it explodes? The new world. The frozen world? Except it's not frozen in temperature. It's frozen in motion. Time stopped. System stopped. People paused mid-life and never unpaused. And here we are. Still broadcasting. Still here. We'll be on air again before we leave. One more check-in. One more push. Then it's just dust, heat, and footsteps. I'll talk to you soon. Stay alive. Stay human. We still matter. It's 2:03 a.m. This will probably be my last broadcast from this room. I'm looking at the board now. The wall where we wrote down names, the schedule, the radio codes, a calendar that stopped making sense 2 weeks ago. We're packing what we can. Water, a map, 3 portable power bricks, one of them rigged with copper leads and heat shielding from the chemistry lab. Vincent welded a makeshift wagon using dorm furniture legs and bike tires he pulled off the outdoor rack. It squeaks like hell, but it rolls. That's what matters. Kayla's cataloging the food, what little's left. We've got maybe 3 days of high-calorie rations if we split them in half. We're going, the Ridge confirmed. They replied at 11:42 p.m. Exact coordinates. Entry protocol. Warning about surface exposure times. They said to approach during the lowest temperature window, between 3:30 and 5 a.m., and to use rooftop reflective cloth as signal confirmation. Said they'd light a beacon if they saw the confirmation flash. Said they'd wait exactly 1 hour. If we don't make it in that window, that's it. We're not bringing the full radio rig, just the field unit. This one right here. The mic you're hearing me through now. The studio's staying behind. It's too big, too heavy, too wired in. We'll leave the loop running, if we can trust the battery to hold a slow trickle. Simple message. We moved. We're still here. If you hear this, so are you. I thought I'd feel relief. I thought I'd be happy to leave. But right now, all I feel is sadness. This room kept us alive. These walls, the low hum of the inverter, the makeshift tarp we used to black out the stairwell window. It's ugly and small and hot, but it became a kind of home. Melissa's not awake. She hasn't been for most of the day. Her body temp is low now. Not high, low. We don't know what that means. Her hands are cold, her breath shallow. We tried mouth-wetting her every 2 hours with gauze soaked in electrolyte water. It helps. A little. Vincent made a carry sling using old bed sheets and an aluminum walker frame. We'll strap her to the top of the gear load. She'll ride with us. She's not dying here. We're not leaving her behind. Kayla found an old Polaroid in the comms room. It still had one picture left. She used it to take a photo of the names board. taped the picture to Melissa's shirt. Said, "Just in case they ask who we are." She's 16. She's been keeping us all on track. When we first lost the grid, she was the one who scavenged the chemistry closet for anything that could make water cooler last longer. She was the one who mapped the stairwell to avoid hotspots. She found the soundproof blankets in the abandoned music room and turned this booth into something we could actually sleep in without baking alive. I keep forgetting she's just a kid. I keep forgetting any of us used to be someone else. We're going to start moving in less than 90 minutes. It'll take us about 45 to reach the edge of the ridge perimeter, assuming the path isn't blocked. Vincent says we'll be at risk for about 12 of those minutes, the final push up the exposed concrete hill where the shadows break. We'll soak our shirts in ice packs before then, the last two. We'll run it if we have to. The ridge said they've got shielding, cooling, power, underground air cycling, even a medical technician. I don't know if I believe all of it, but I believe they're real. And right now, that's more than enough. We got a final shortwave tonight. Faint, broken, but readable. Guy named Arjun. Said he's with a group in northern Utah, staying inside a decommissioned missile silo. Said they've been off-grid since before the collapse. Full prep team, agricultural engineers, 2 doctors, about 30 people. They're listening. They've been listening for days. He said, "Your voice reminds us we're not sealed in here alone." That got to me more than I want to admit. He didn't ask for help. He didn't offer it. He just wanted us to know that he heard us. Said they call it skyfall. That's their word for what happened. Said their meteorologist tracked a sudden drop in stratospheric particulate stability 3 days before the first temp spikes. Said the readings were impossible, like the upper atmosphere folded in on itself. That's the third person now to describe it that way. Folded, cracked, refracted. It wasn't supposed to happen, but it did. Kayla's packing the last of the radio equipment now. The old signal repeater, the notebook of frequencies, the last dry pen. We'll leave a trail behind, marks in chalk, not on the ground, on the walls, in places that don't catch light. That's something Vincent said. He said, "Never leave a mark where the sun can read it." We don't know what's up there anymore, but we know it watches. I want to say goodbye to this room, just for me, to the dust, the walls, the crack in the ceiling above the mic stand where condensation used to drip onto my shoulder at 4 a.m., to the signal that never gave out until we did. I'm not going to say this is the end, because it's not, but it's the end of this chapter. One more thing before we go. Kayla left a message in the battery repeater that'll play on loop after we're gone. It says, "If you find this place, you survived the first wave." That means something. You're still here. So were we. We left this signal for you, not to tell you where we went, but to tell you why. Because we believed there was still something out there worth walking toward. Don't stay still. Don't wait for rescue. It's not coming. Go find what's left. And when you do, write your name down. Read it aloud. That's how you make a signal. That's how you stay real. You're not alone. We'll be leaving in 57 minutes. I'll record the rest of the journey if I can. Short bursts, updates, keep the log alive. Maybe we'll hear new voices. Maybe we'll see a new sky. Maybe we'll find a place where the air doesn't boil and the walls don't sweat and the sun can be trusted again. Until then, stay alive. Keep moving. This was the frozen world. We're walking out of it now. heat hit harder than we expected, even in the dark. The second we stepped out from the stairwell, it felt like we were stepping into a kiln. The wind had stopped completely. No movement in the trees, if you can even call them trees anymore. Just brittle outlines, hollow trunks without leaves. Silent. We stayed low. Vincent took point, pushing the gear sled ahead with one arm, other hand holding the infrared scanner. I had Melissa strapped to my back. She's still unconscious. Pulse is weak, but steady. Kayla followed behind, hand on the tether, checking the reflective tarp draped over us. We looked like a walking piece of foil, hunched and dragging weight. We moved fast. No talking. Just footsteps. The crunch of debris. The creak of warped concrete. We passed 2 cars, melted to the pavement. One of them still had its airbag halfway deployed. The other had no windows, just a burned frame and a shadow outline of where someone used to be. We didn't stop. We couldn't. Vincent said we had a 14-minute surface window max. We'd been on foot for 8. Then the sky changed. I don't know how else to describe it. It didn't brighten. Not exactly. It thinned. The clouds peeled back in sections like wet tissue, revealing this bruised yellow light behind them, like a storm cell filled with gaslight. And with it came the noise. A low hum, constant, somewhere between pressure and sound. Kayla doubled over, said it felt like her ears were folding inward. Vincent grabbed her by the collar and pulled her forward, told her not to stop, told us to cover our eyes. I tried, but I looked, just for a second, and I saw movement in the clouds. Not shapes, not solid, just patterns, rhythms, like rotation. A spiral moving so slowly it almost wasn't moving at all. Then it was gone. A pulse. The hum stopped. The sky resealed itself. We ran. I don't remember how we made it the last stretch. My breath was shallow. My hands were burning where they touched the sling frame. Kayla collapsed at the base of the hill. Vincent grabbed her, dragged her up the incline, one foot slipping on melted asphalt. I waved the mirror tarp overhead. Once. Twice. 3 times. No answer. Then, there. A light. Weak at first. Then stronger. Blinking in a pattern. We followed it. They let us in. They pulled the entrance gate from inside, camouflaged with debris and steel plates. A tunnel, steep, angled, air rushing through from below. Cold air. Real cold air. It hit my face, and I almost sobbed. They didn't speak much at first. Just ushered us in, pulled the sled inside, took Melissa to a medical room. The space inside was bigger than I thought. Concrete and steel. Dim red lights overhead. A ceiling fan spinning slowly with no sound. Generators. I heard them humming through the floor. Filtered air. They had power. They had water. And they had people. 13 of them by Kayla's count. Old. Young. A couple who looked barely 20. 2 people in camouflage jackets. An older man who walked with a limp. 1 woman with oil-stained hands and a welding apron. They looked at us like we were ghosts. I guess we were. We've been down here for 5 hours. It's surreal. There's no music. No background noise. Just people whispering. The hum of the lights. The drip of condensation from the overhead ducts. They gave us water, crackers, a sealed protein bar. Real food, dry but solid. Melissa is being monitored now. They said her core temp was dangerously low, hypothermic even. The medic didn't understand it. Said it was like her body stopped trying to regulate. But she's stable. That's all that matters. They have a small radio room. It's more primitive than ours. Shortwave only, no FM band. But functional. They said we could use it for outbound logs. So I am. This voice, this mic, it's still here. This log is still real. We haven't broadcast it yet, but I'm recording because we made it. And I need to say what that means. It means the world isn't dead. Not completely. It means systems can still exist. Power can still flow. Food can still be stored. People can still reach out to strangers and say, "We'll wait for you." It means we weren't wrong to hope. I don't know what happens next. I don't know if the ridge will hold, or if this is just another stop before everything burns. But tonight, I'm not surrounded by sweat and decay. I'm surrounded by breath, by blinking lights, by quiet, steady energy. It's not paradise, but it's life. And right now, that's enough. I'll update again soon. If anyone's listening, if anyone out there made it to their own version of the ridge, know this. You were right to keep going. The world cracked, but it hasn't shattered. Not yet. This is still the frozen world, and tonight, it has a heartbeat. I'm sitting in a room with walls thicker than any safe I've ever seen. The kind of place that was probably built for continuity of government. Cement, steel, no exterior glass. The air's dry, but cool, filtered. They've got 2 backup generators, a wind intake shaft, and a hydro condenser that runs off a buried pipe they drilled down into the old reservoir. In short, they were ready. Or maybe not ready, but close enough to adapt fast. The ridge has been here since before things went public. That's what they told me. It wasn't built after the collapse. It wasn't even built for this. It used to be a weather station. Then it became something else. I've been talking to a woman named Geneva. She's not the leader here. There's no formal leader, but people defer to her when there's silence. Late 40s, tired eyes, wears the same canvas jacket every day. There's a patch on the arm with no label, just a color bar. White, gray, red. She used to work in emergency planning. Not the public kind. Not city council press briefings or FEMA field teams. The real kind. Backroom threat assessments. Black site continuity nodes. She said the heat spike wasn't just predicted, it was mapped. Not this exactly, but the parameters, the scenario. She said there were 5 versions of climate failure protocols on the table back in 2026. She helped draft 3. They had names like Cicada Blue, Hyperfield, Quiet Shell. Each one described a different flavor of breakdown: ecological, structural, electromagnetic, and thermal. She said the one closest to what we're living through now was a hybrid model. Not expected for another 50 years. They called it glassed Earth. Not because of nukes. Because of what happened to sand in extreme thermal shock. She said they ran the simulation a dozen times. In every version, the failure wasn't the heat. It was communication loss. She looked at me and said, "If people had stayed connected, we might have kept civilization." Then she turned away. I haven't stopped thinking about that. Kayla's recovering. Her feet are bandaged from the walk. First-degree burns on her left shin from tarp reflection. But she's awake, talking. She asked me if we're staying. I didn't know how to answer. Vincent's helping in the machine room, rewiring an old battery array they salvaged from a telecom truck last month. He doesn't talk about the outside anymore. Doesn't say much at all, unless it's about systems. He sleeps sitting up against the wall, like he's afraid if he lies down, he won't get back up. Melissa's conscious. Weak, but conscious. She looked at me for a long time without speaking, then whispered, "Did it all melt?" I told her no. I told her some of it made it underground. That was the first time I've seen her smile. I've spent the last 2 hours reading the Ridge's archive logs. They have records, radio captures, satellite notes, intercepted emergency briefings from the early days. One stuck out. It was a transmission from a now silent station in Nebraska, dated 15 days before full collapse. The message was scrambled but clear. The upper atmosphere is reflecting microwave radiation back into the magnetosphere. It's acting like a lens. Temperatures will spike exponentially over 40 days. Repeat, exponential. Prepare for absorption cascade. Ice cores are destabilizing. Do not assume time. Do not assume normal. No official response was ever recorded. Geneva said the people who sent that message are probably dead. But they weren't wrong. She showed me a satellite image. One of the last. A thermal map of the planet 72 hours before the grid fell. Red. Not just in the equator belt, but in rings. Concentric heat blooming out from the poles. A reversal. The heat wasn't spreading outward. It was moving inward. Inverted. She said the Earth's heartbeat flipped. I asked her what happens next. She said, "We adapt, or we go extinct." And then she turned back to the wiring diagram she was sketching. There's a child here. Her name is June. She's maybe 7, always barefoot. Draws on the wall with a chunk of black wax. Today, she drew a sun. Not the old sun, a new one, with lines that bend inward. She said it watches now. I asked her what that meant. She shrugged. Kids see things we miss. Kayla gave her a pen from the old bunker. It barely works. June smiled anyway. Geneva's team runs shortwave outreach every night. They send a single message. It says, "This is the Ridge. We are alive. If you are alive too, respond on band E3. We will wait. You are not alone." Sometimes they get replies, usually static. Once, a fragment from someone in Tijuana. Another from someone in Iceland. Impossible range, but it came through, once. They've been logging everyone. We added our names to the log today. It felt strange, like carving your initials into the wall of something older than you. I miss the air, not the heat, not the death-choked atmosphere out there. The idea of it. The idea that you could breathe without filters. That the world used to be open. That people didn't have to hide to survive. Tonight, for the first time in days, I feel something I don't know how to name. Not hope. Not exactly. But the beginning of it. A shape forming behind the numbness. Maybe we're still a signal. Maybe this broadcast still means something. If you're hearing this, if you found shelter, if you're hiding in a tunnel or buried in a storage locker, or lying on a roof waiting for the light to change, I need you to write this down. You are not the last. You are not forgotten. We are building something again. Slowly, quietly, inside the frozen world. And it still has a pulse. It's 1:39 a.m. I'm speaking from inside the Ridge's broadcast room. It's not much. A fold-out table, cracked leather chair, and a repurposed field comm unit wired through a signal booster Vincent soldered back to life. But the mic works, the radio works, and my voice, after everything, still works. So I'm back. I'm here. We've decided to restart outbound transmissions. 1 broadcast per night. Low wattage, high priority. Range estimated at 20 to 30 miles on AM. If the sky cooperates, maybe farther. Geneva gave her approval, but she warned us. We're not alone on the band anymore. Something else is transmitting. We've been picking up irregular patterns, non-human pings on secondary frequencies, not random, not weather. Repeating, we're calling them ghost ladders, because they sound like someone climbing through static. 1 step, then silence. Another, then silence. No metadata, no ID tags. They're not ours. But we're not stopping. Tonight is the first official transmission out of the ridge. I'm calling it Signal Restoration 1. This signal is meant to say what we all stopped saying out loud. We are still alive. And we are listening. We're operating under a new call sign now, Echo 7. This is ECHO 7, Ridge Station. Relay point for all frequencies still functioning within the continental zone. Broadcast operating on 101.3 AM and sweep scanning 645 through 720 on the longwave band. Signal times will vary, but will transmit daily, every time the Earth allows. Today, we received our first contact from someone we thought was lost. A man named Ellis, from Chicago. Yes, Chicago. We thought it was gone. The last word we had from the city was a distress broadcast 6 weeks ago. Half a minute of garbled voice screaming something about fire on the lakeshore. Then silence. But today, this morning actually, we got a weak return ping on a reflection bounce from the old municipal police frequency. It came through our listening station in corridor B7. Kayla was the one who caught it. She cleaned it up, filtered it through 5 layers of static, and under it all, a voice said, "This is Ellis, North End, subfloor, Lake Tunnel 14. Still here. Food left. Water low. Sun doesn't touch down here. If anyone hears me, I'm still here." We don't know how. We don't know why. But he's alive. Chicago is not gone. I think I sat with that thought for a whole hour, just letting it exist in my head. Because when the silence stretches this long, when the world screams itself quiet, you start to think the map is just a graveyard. Dots turned into memories, cities into ash. But now we know. There's a man, sitting underground, surrounded by darkness, probably half-starved, half losing his mind, and he had the strength to press the transmit button. That means something. We sent back a reply ping, slow burst, directed beam, told him we heard him, told him we'll keep listening, and I want to say this now, for the record. Ellis, if you hear this, I want you to know you saved something in us, in me. You reminded us that the dead city still breathes. We've started building the wall again. Not a literal wall, a signal wall, a chart of every confirmed living contact we've received since the heat began. It's up in Corridor C, near the vent shaft. Names, locations, timestamps. I walked past it tonight. I saw Geneva standing in front of it. She wasn't moving, just staring, like she was counting. She told me she used to believe survival would feel like a cold math problem. Rations, filtration systems, body counts. But now she knows it feels like paper, like names taped to a wall. Kayla asked if she could draw on the wall. No one told her no. She drew lines between the names, arcs, constellations. She said, "This way we can see who's holding who." I want to believe she's right, that there's still a shape to this, still some kind of map leading us back to each other. I don't know what happens next. The heat hasn't let up. The sun hasn't returned in any recognizable way. We get light, but not warmth. We get sky, but not weather. The earth feels paused, like it's waiting for us to decide if we're worth continuing. But tonight, I feel something I haven't felt since this began. Not comfort, not safety, but defiance. The kind that lets you raise your voice in the dark and say, "I am not done. We're not done." To anyone out there, if you're hiding, if you're waiting, if you've stopped talking because you think no one is left to listen, try again. Say your name. Say where you are. Say anything. We'll hear it. This is Echo 7, Ridge Station, broadcasting live from what's left of the world. The heat may have taken the air, the sky, the surface, but it hasn't taken the signal. Not yet. We'll be back tomorrow. Same time. Same band. Stay covered. Stay cool. Stay human. This is still the frozen world, and it still remembers your name. Still alive? We received a long-wave signal tonight. Origin, unknown, but triangulation puts it somewhere south, very far south. Kayla thinks it came from the Gulf. That's impossible. The last satellite pass showed the entire coastline submerged in heat haze, water temperature approaching 110 degrees, coral flash-boiled, cargo ships stuck in liquefied steel. The Houston transmitter grid melted off the map, and yet, the signal came. Frequency 6.77, amplitude modulated, fading in and out like someone was walking in and out of a dream. The voice? Male. Steady. Older. Measured. This is what he said. Testing relay for remaining stations. This is the Ark. We are seaborne, mobile, on the move, limited capacity, not safe to dock, not safe to anchor, listening, logging, respond on 6.77. Then nothing. Vincent rerouted power from the hydrocoil to boost our outbound reply. We bounced a response 3 times over the next hour. No reply yet. But it's real. They're calling themselves the Ark. We don't know if that's a code, a ship name, a group name, or just poetry. But it changes everything, because it means the ocean still holds life, and that someone out there figured out how to stay above it all. Geneva's not convinced. She thinks it could be a ghost signal, one of the automated distress loops left running in some naval archive. But I heard it. It was too human to be a loop. He paused between words. That doesn't happen in code. There's something about a voice like that. Slow. Deliberate. Not panicked. Like someone who's already seen everything fall and decided to keep talking anyway. Vincent's been quieter than usual since we picked it up. He's writing something down in a notebook he keeps in his pocket. Won't let anyone read it. Kayla asked him if he thought it was a trap. He said, even if it is, we still answer. And then he went back to soldering a relay booster. I saw something tonight I can't stop thinking about. I was in Corridor D, just past the generator room, walking to check the filter readouts. And on the floor, near the wall, someone had written something in charcoal. 5 words, "The heat will come again." I asked around. No one admitted to writing it, but I think everyone's seen it. No one wants to say it out loud, but we all feel it. This isn't over. We're in a pocket. A pause. A brief shelter in the eye of a second storm. Geneva confirmed what we feared. She called a meeting. First one since we arrived. She said the models show thermal bands are tightening. We're not getting cooler. The system is resetting, compressing. The atmosphere's stacking heat like a pressure cooker. She said there's a term for this. One they used in classified climate simulations. Heat walls. Not singular. Plural. The first wave is never the end. It's the destabilizer. The test. It's the one that breaks systems. The second wave is the one that breaks people. She thinks we have days, not weeks. Days. Before a second surge rips through the continent, stronger, faster, and less forgiving. She said if the ridge is going to survive, it has to become a node, not just a shelter, a hub. We need to find more people, more contacts, build a network, map what's left, and fast. That's why we're broadcasting tonight, not just to talk. To connect, to locate, to hold together what's left of this shredded country before the next wave tears it further apart. We've marked the contact from the arc on the board. Location, unknown. Status, seaborne. Call sign, the arc. Response level, yellow. We've sent out 5 more hails. 2 to stations in Canada. 1 to an old NOAA buoy network, 1 to what's left of a ham radio chain in the Rockies, and 1, blindly, to Greenland. We don't know who will answer, but silence is a choice we're not making. Geneva pulled me aside after the meeting. She said she remembers hearing my voice before I got here. She said, "You didn't sound scared. You sounded like someone who was already dead, trying to stay useful." I didn't know what to say. Then she added, "That's exactly the voice we need right now." I've been thinking about that ever since. About what it means to talk like you've already died. Maybe it just means you're not afraid to lose what's left. Or maybe it means you've finally figured out what matters enough to say. Kayla wrote another note on the wall of names tonight. A single line under all the cities, all the survivors. Speak even when you don't know who's listening. That's the signal now. That's the message. Speak, because silence is extinction. This is ECH07. We are alive. We are listening. If you're out there, if you're hiding beneath salt mines, or drifting near the coast, or buried in a freezer truck turned into a shelter, find a way to speak. We'll find a way to hear you. Stay underground. Stay connected. The sky hasn't changed, but neither have we, and we still speak human. We heard from Ellis again. Chicago is still there. Barely. His message came through an hour ago. Stronger this time. Like he found a better place to transmit. No voice this time. Just a slow tone burst, followed by a low whisper. 10 words. They're burning the surface. Controlled collapse. All exits sealed. Vincent was the first to react. He dropped his toolkit and said, "They're torching zones." Geneva didn't argue. She just walked to the map board and moved Chicago from unknown yellow to contested red. That was the first time we've had to use that category. Contested. Not dead. Not safe. Somewhere in between. She said it's a term from old continuity plans. It means the region is active, but no longer under civil control. Could be rogue military, private security, or localized collapse. But Ellis is still alive, which means whoever's sealing the exits hasn't found him yet. We sent a reply, gave him a sequence of tunnel navigation codes, standard back in the old subway network days. Geneva thinks there might still be an emergency crawlway that leads east under the river. We told him to follow the pipes. Told him we'll boost signal strength between 2 and 4 a.m. each night. Told him not to stop transmitting. Even if it's only static. Even if it's only his heartbeat. Transmit. That's all that matters. And then, just as we were logging that, we got a second transmission. From the Ark, same voice. Clearer this time. This is what he said. This is the Ark. Repeat. Mobile base is active. Lat 27.76. Long negative 91.58. Southeast drift. 5 knots. No coastal contact. No approach advised. Resources finite. Survivors confirmed in Sector Delta 7. 182 days remaining on life support systems. We are alive, but we will not last. Listening. We ran the coordinates. Gulf of Mexico, just south of Louisiana, near the decommissioned deep-sea oil rigs. Vincent looked up from the chart and said, "They're on a platform. A floating one. Maybe a former drilling barge, or a retrofitted Navy vessel. Whatever it is, it's not docked, and it's not coming ashore." Geneva leaned over and whispered, "They're trying to stay above the heat wall." Then she marked the spot in blue. Blue is new. Blue means mobile. Blue means unstable. It means the map's not static anymore. It's not enough to know where people are. Now we have to track where they're going. That changes everything. If survivors are moving, drifting even, then the world isn't just fractured. It's liquid. It's flowing. We have to adapt. The Ridges Council called an emergency session. They voted to extend the radius. We're going to open access to refugees again. 3-mile perimeter. Only during the safe hours, between 3 and 5 a.m., we'll leave a beacon active on 101.3 for that window. A simple loop. Ridge open. 3 miles. Bring light. Knock twice. Then we wait. Vincent's reinforcing the stairwell gates, welding steel beams to the outer walls. Geneva's requisitioning all remaining water filters. We're expecting 10, maybe 20, maybe none. But we're preparing anyway, because this is what you do when you remember what it means to be human. You make space, even when there isn't any left. Melissa's awake again. She listened to Ellis's transmission, sat quietly on the cot, eyes half closed. Then she said, "He shouldn't be alone in the dark." Kayla brought her a cup of broth. Melissa whispered, "Are we the signal now?" I told her yes. We are. We're the signal. And the only thing stronger than heat is a voice that won't stop. A voice that keeps echoing across broken skies and cracked towers. A voice that says over and over, "You're not alone. You're not forgotten. You are still here." To Ellis, if you're hearing this, we've marked your signal. We've mapped your location. And we're not giving up on you. To the Ark, keep drifting. Keep transmitting. You are proof that water still carries memory, that heat hasn't boiled the world clean. And to anyone else, anyone holding a battery, a transmitter, a scrap of copper, and a prayer, speak. We'll find you. This is ECHO 7. Still here. Still human. Still broadcasting from the frozen world. We opened the hatch tonight. They came. 6 of them. They didn't knock twice. They collapsed. We found them just outside the perimeter, on the ridge path, 200 yards from the blast doors. They were lying face down in the dust, skin cracked, eyes swollen shut, clothes melted to their backs. They had no gear, no water, no shade. Just a single canvas duffel bag duct-taped shut. Inside, a broken radio, a rusted revolver with no bullets, and a black and white photo of a church. The man in front, mid-30s, shaved head, burns on both arms. He was still conscious. He said, "We came from outside Silo Bend. We saw the light, thought it was heaven." Then he passed out. Kayla hasn't said a word since. Geneva's in triage with 2 others. Vincent's rerouting airflow to the lower corridor to slow the rise in humidity. One of the 6 died before we could get him inside. We wrapped him in foil and stored the body near the empty water tank in Corridor F. No one said his name. We don't know if he had one. The survivors, those still able to speak, told us something we can't ignore. They said the towns are burning at night. Ghost towns. Empty ones, lit up like someone's trying to erase the past. They said they passed 3 separate locations, places that were abandoned for weeks. Every one of them was burning. Controlled, even. Not wildfires. Not accidents. Someone's burning the dead. Or maybe not just the dead. They called them cleansings. One of the survivors, an older woman with a gash across her cheek, said she heard speakers. Automated ones. Repeating the same phrase every 2 minutes. Zone compromised. Termination authorized. Rebirth in heat. We don't know who's behind it. Could be rogue military. Could be some new authority we haven't made contact with. Could be madness. But one thing's clear. Someone out there is finishing what the sun started. Vincent believes the second heat wall is forcing someone's hand. That whoever is trying to contain this thinks fire is cleaner than collapse. And maybe it is. But it's not survival. And it's not human. We marked the location on the map. Silo Bend to South Kessler. 3 burn zones. Red arc, no safe passage. The man who brought them here, the one with the burns, he woke up again. Just for a second. Said, "Don't go west." Not anymore. They're wiping the silence. That was the last thing he said before they put him under. Wiping the silence. What does that mean? We don't know. But the ridge is tense. Kayla asked me, straight out, if we're next. If someone's going to find us and try to clean us too. I didn't answer, because I don't know. But I walked back through the eastern hallway after she asked. Past the water room, past the generator hum, down to Corridor H, where the old, locked door is. The one Geneva told us not to open. And it was open, cracked just slightly, enough to see light. I pushed it open. Inside, a room I hadn't seen before, cooled, sealed, soundproof. And in the middle of the room, standing upright, was a rack of old servers, still running, lights blinking, and a screen with one line of text. Last connection. Government main relay Alpha 3 terminated. Geneva was already there. She didn't try to stop me from seeing. She said, "This is where the ridge began." I asked her what she meant. She said this was part of an old data node, civilian-facing. It used to hold evacuation routes, civil defense messages, medical deployment protocols. But now, Now it holds something else. A recording. One that was intercepted 2 days before the first heat surge. She played it for me. It was a voice, robotic, clean, reading off a directive. Initiate Protocol Eden. Abandon surface infrastructure. Secure underground nodes. Delete non-essential data. Begin atmospheric modulation. Atmospheric modulation. That's what it said. I asked her if that meant this was on purpose. She didn't answer. She just looked at the screen and said, "We're not supposed to be up there anymore." Then she walked out. I haven't told the others. Not yet. Because if it's true, if someone knew the Earth was going to flip like this and decided to force it through, then the fires aren't just desperation. They're policy. The surface isn't dying. It's being erased. But I'm still here. And so are you. So are the names on the wall. So is Ellis. So is the Ark. So is anyone still holding a frayed antenna and a heartbeat. We are still here, and no one's erasing us. Not while the signal holds. This is ECHO7. We've opened the door. We've seen the fire, and we are not running. To everyone listening, stay underground. Stay moving. Stay human. And remember, they may burn the silence, but they can't burn the voice. Not all of it. Not yet. Time, 3:46 a.m. We're losing outbound clarity. Not completely. Not yet. But something is interfering with the transmitter. Kayla first noticed it 2 nights ago. She said the signal sounded tight, like it was being bent or pulled. Vincent ran diagnostics, checked the wiring, recalibrated the coils, even rebuilt the antenna base in the eastern corridor. Still the same. Every time we transmit for longer than 90 seconds, the tail end of the signal gets clipped. Fuzzy. Not natural static. Not weather. Something more intentional. Geneva thinks it could be atmospheric density, heat swell causing bounce distortion. But Vincent doesn't buy it. He thinks it's jamming. We don't have proof. But after what the new arrivals told us, no one's sleeping easy. The man with the burns, his name is Curtis, we found out. He woke again last night. Fevered. Eyes flickering like he was watching something behind his eyelids. He grabbed Geneva's hand and whispered, "They're building signal mirrors. Big ones. Up high. So the heat can talk." Then he passed out again. We checked the old military logs. Mirrors exist, not actual glass ones, plasma mirrors, atmospheric devices, capable of bouncing certain frequencies across the upper layers of sky. If you built them big enough, in enough places, and fed them just the right kind of current, they could reflect or scatter heat itself. Redirect energy, like an oven dome. If that's what this is, if someone's redirecting the sun or what's left of it, then this heat isn't just a natural disaster. It's a shaping force. And the ridge is in its path. We heard from the Ark again. They confirmed the second heat wall. They called it Phase Arc 2. Said the ocean temperature has risen 2 degrees in less than 10 days. That the air above their platform burns skin in under 3 minutes. That storms are no longer rotating. They're convulsing. The voice from the Ark didn't sound scared. It sounded resolved. Said, "We will not make it to September." And then, quietly, "Don't chase us. You won't survive the drift." We logged it, stamped the tape, marked the calendar. And then Kayla drew another line on the wall. This one was curved. Not a connection, but a wave. A warning. We don't know what happens when the second heat wall arrives. No one here's saying it out loud, but we all feel it. It's coming soon. The girl who arrived 2 nights ago, maybe 6 or 7 years old, no name given. She's been drawing. Not walls, not suns, not people. Maps, hand-drawn maps, circles and lines, not childlike, precise. She doesn't speak much, just hums. Today she brought one of the maps to Geneva. Geneva laid it on the table. None of us recognized the place, but Vincent did. He stared at it for a long time, then said, "That's pre-grid. Old rail town. Got erased from satellite records back in the 30s. We looked it up in the Ridge Archive. Found it. A place called Arno, Nevada. Population 0. Erased after a mining collapse. No recent record. No signal. No broadcasts. Just gone. But the girl drew it like she'd been there yesterday. She even marked buildings. The railhead. A well. A church. How? No one knows. But she's drawn 5 more maps since. All different towns. None of them on any current chart. We're calling them ghost maps. Geneva thinks the child might be remembering things from her parents. Echoes. But I don't know. Something about the way she draws. It feels deliberate, like a message, waiting to be read. And if these towns are real and not lost, then maybe someone is hiding there, or being kept there. We're going to scan the old records, match coordinates, plot them all. If we find a pattern, we'll send scouts. Yes, scouts. For the first time since we arrived, Geneva is talking about going out again. Not all of us, just a pair. She asked me if I'd go. I said yes, not because I want to, but because I have to see the world with my own eyes again. Even if it kills me, we need to know what's left. And we need to know who's burning the silence. Outbound beacon will still run, every night. Same message. We are here. We are alive. We are still listening. If you're near Arno, or what used to be Arno, or any of the ghost towns, speak, even if no one remembers you, even if no map shows your name. Speak. We'll try to reach you. This is ECH07. Our signal's breaking, but we're not. Not yet. Stay covered. Stay sharp. They're bending the heat now. We need to bend the voice harder. 4:22 a.m. 2 people are leaving tomorrow. First time since the hatch closed. Geneva signed off on it personally. A recon team. Small. Mobile. Daylight capable. Out and back in under 36 hours. I'm one of them. Vincent volunteered to be the other. He said he wants to see something before it's all gone. We're heading east-northeast toward the mountains. The plan is to trace one of the ghost map locations, Site 3. It doesn't have a name, just coordinates. But Vincent recognized it. Not the coordinates, those he had to look up. The layout, the lines. He said, I remember that pattern. From a book I read when I was a kid. Military records. Not public. We sat in the machine room, just the 2 of us, while he told the story. Said his father used to work base security. Not police. Something deeper. Cleanup. Compartmentalization. He remembered overhearing conversations about buried Axis sites, places that had been stripped from public record, not nuked, not abandoned, hidden, on purpose. He said there were dozens of them across the US, none of them on any modern satellite index. But this one, Site 3, used to be called Arno East. It was a replication facility. Power, food, logistics, radio. A ghost infrastructure node. Designed to go live in the event of a global communications failure. I asked him how he knew that. He said, "My father disappeared there in 2033. No one spoke for a while after that. He looked at me like he was already gone. And maybe he is. We've packed what we can. Water rations, solar netting, a hand-cranked relay beacon, no firearms. Geneva said if someone's out there, they need to see us as voices, not weapons. We leave at 5 a.m. Kayla's not happy. She said I shouldn't go. Said my voice matters more here. I told her I'd come back with new names to add to the wall. She didn't answer, just handed me a piece of paper. Folded. Plain. Inside, a single line. If you die, you better haunt us. I laughed. Then I cried. And I didn't know which one was more honest. Before I wrap this up, there's one more thing. Something happened tonight. Right before we started the transmitter. A beacon. An automated one. Faint. Garbled. But steady. Repeating every 20 seconds. Vincent caught it first, tuned into the long band while calibrating the backup antenna. A single voice, synthesized, from somewhere near Seattle, the city we wrote off a month ago. The beacon said, "This is Unit 11B, loop active, civilian shelter open, supplies minimal, guidance offline, coordinates 47.60, negative 122.33. Do not approach without authorization. Do not bring fire. Do not bring fire." It repeated 6 times. Then the loop reset. We verified the coordinates. It's inside Seattle's old transit core, under the Federal Center. If this is real, there's still a node alive inside a city we thought was lost to flame. But who's running the beacon? And who are they warning? No fire. That implies someone tried. That implies someone burned them once before. We don't know if it's a trap or a cry for help. Geneva says we don't have the resources to go that far west, not yet, but we've logged it, marked it on the map in orange. Orange means unsure. Vincent thinks it might be connected to the atmospheric modulation systems. That maybe Seattle was part of the grid itself? I don't know. But we'll know more soon. Tomorrow, we walk. Vincent and I. Back into the heat, the silence, the ash. Back into the edge of what used to be. If we make it back, I'll tell you everything. Every detail. Every voice. Every ghost. But if we don't, if this is the last message you ever hear from me, let it carry one thing. We are not done. Not even close. You are not alone. You are not erased. This is ECH07. Still speaking. Still breathing. Still burning brighter than their fire. We're outside. We left Ridge Station 12 hours ago. The hatch sealed behind us with a sound I'll never forget, like a coffin snapping shut on something that might not come back. Me, or Vincent, or both. The heat was immediate, not like before. Worse. There's no air movement now. The atmosphere doesn't shift. It hangs, thick, dead, like walking through clear smoke. The surface temperature rose to 113 degrees by noon. No clouds, No birds, no sound. Just the long, vibrating hum of power lines that don't carry power anymore. Vincent said the heat was pressurized. Said it wasn't just hot. It was structured. Like someone had shaped the pressure zones like bowls, dipping in and out. I didn't understand. Then we climbed the ridge. And I saw it. The sky itself bent. Not curved like Earth's horizon, but twisted like a heat mirage you could walk into and never come out. We walked through that, straight into it. No choice. Our path followed the ghost map, what Kayla labeled Site 3. Took us across dried-out riverbeds, old forest trails that crumbled to ash underfoot, and the skeletal remains of a comms tower lying on its side like a dead insect. At one point, Vincent stopped and pulled out a strip of plastic, held it in the air. It curled instantly, melted halfway through before he dropped it. Said, "The sun's not sunlight anymore. It's memory, and it's angry." We didn't speak after that. Not until the town appeared. Site 3. We reached it just before sunset, or what passes for sunset now. The light doesn't fade. It just stops shining on things. We found the town. 4 buildings. A church. A post office. A diner. And something that might have been a school. All of it intact. Not burned. Not rotted. Preserved. Like something was holding the decay back. We stepped through the diner first. No dust. No insects. A table still had 2 empty cups and a sugar shaker, but no people. Then we heard it. A hum, very faint. Coming from under the church. Vincent found the hatch behind the altar, half buried under what looked like gravel, but turned out to be synthetic. We opened it. Steps led down, and at the bottom, a room. Literature, dim, flickering light, like a backup generator on its last breath. In the middle, a chair. Someone was sitting in it, not moving. We approached. Vincent kept one hand on his pocket blade. I raised the light. It was a man, late 60s, bald, wearing a torn medical gown. His eyes were open, but they didn't blink. Then he spoke. Just one word. Loop. We stepped back. He didn't move, didn't speak again. We checked his pulse. Faint, but present. Then I noticed the screen behind him. It was showing a waveform, a signal, repeating every 18 seconds. Just like the beacon from Seattle. The man was the transmitter. Or maybe the loop was using him. Vincent looked at me and said, "We have to get this out." So I'm recording, sending this back to the ridge if we can boost through the static. The ghost town isn't empty. It's preserved, held, maintained by something or someone. And they're running loops. Like Seattle. Like whatever's coming next. We don't know who did this. Or why. But there are names etched into the walls down here. Dozens. Hundreds. Written in small print. Most of them crossed out. But 3 aren't. I saw mine. I saw Vincent's. And I saw Ellis. We're going to try and copy the signal. If we can trace the loop's origin, maybe we'll understand what's coordinating all this. If we can't, we'll destroy it. Because this is not a town. It's a lab. And someone's still collecting data. If we don't come back, if this transmission is the last thing you hear from us, don't look for us here. Don't trust preserved places. Don't trust the quiet. Because the silence is not silence. It's storage. And someone is still listening. We'll try to reach the ridge by morning, if we're still alive. This is ECHO7. Recon team. Somewhere near Site 3. Still human. Still burning. Still watching the sky try to remember what it used to be. We left the ghost town at first light. Vincent copied the loop signal to tape, an old reel-to-reel we found wired into the wall behind the false altar. The man in the chair never moved, still breathing, still muttering. When we climbed out of the hatch, the temperature had dropped. Only by a few degrees, but enough to feel it. The air wasn't still anymore. It vibrated. We began the hike back across the dry ridgeline, following the same path, same markers. Then we heard it, a soft whine, not mechanical, not natural, like pressure slipping through an old airlock. Vincent turned and scanned the sky. That's when we saw it. Above the ridge, a glint, a slow-moving shape, low, no wings, no rotors. It didn't fly. It floated. Round, silent, drifting just above the thermals, reflective, like it was designed to mirror the sky itself. It was watching us. No lights, no movement, but tracking us. Vincent whispered, "It's not military." I asked him how he knew. He said, "Because we would have been dead already." We ducked behind a burned tree husk and watched it pass. It didn't scan, didn't pulse, just drifted. Then it stopped, midair, directly above the trail we'd walked. We didn't wait to find out what came next. We dropped into the southern draw, rerouted along the dry spillway, and moved fast. 2 hours of straight descent, no stops, no water. When we emerged, exhausted, shaking, dehydrated, the drone was gone. But there were footprints, not ours. Fresh ones, deep, staggered, like someone had been walking in a daze. We didn't follow, just marked them and moved. We reached the outer perimeter of the ridge by 10:31 a.m. Kayla was waiting at the hatch. She didn't smile, just helped us inside and sealed the bulkhead behind us. Said, "Something's happening. You need to hear this." We followed her into the comms room. Geneva was standing in front of the receiver array, pale. On the console, a line of data was scrolling, fast, unstable, like a broken download loop. The screen said, "Relay North, primary node, message follows." Then, begin sequence. Then, error. And then a burst of characters. Nonsense. At first. Then Kayla ran a parse against old UN encoding protocols. Language filter kicked in. And out came this. "They are mirroring memory. Your thoughts are not private. They are listening before you speak. Bury the radios. Revert to metal. Fire will betray location. Repeat. Relay North is falling. Do not trust reflections." No sender ID. No signature. No origin point traceable. But the system recognized the format. It matches the ARC's original message structure. That means someone else, possibly part of the same pre-collapse network, is out there, dying, or already gone, and still trying to warn us. Vincent's face was gray. He said, "Mirroring memory." That's what the man in the chair at Site 3 was doing. Not broadcasting thoughts, replaying them. We don't know what Relay North was, but it knew about the mirrors. The ones Curtis mentioned. The ones folding heat, bending signals, maybe even watching people. Kayla started disconnecting everything not on hardened cable. Said, "If it's inside the radio bands, we're done." Geneva didn't argue, just ordered a signal silence. First one since day one. Until we can ground our antennas and rebuild shielding, we're not transmitting outbound. Not unless it's emergency. I'm breaking that order by recording this. But this needs to be said. To you. To whoever's still listening. We went outside. We found a man who's not dead, but no longer himself. We found names written before we arrived. We found signals that think before you do. And now we've brought something back. I don't know if it followed us. I don't know if it needs to follow. Because maybe it was always here. Maybe it just needed us to notice. Maybe we're the mirrors now. This is ECH07. I'll send this when the signal's clean. And if you hear it, if you're still out there, write your name somewhere it won't echo. Because they are collecting sound, and soon they'll collect us too. The lights are flickering again. At first, we thought it was power draw, maybe too many backup systems running at once. Then Geneva shut off everything non-essential. Still flickering. It's not random. The pattern is wrong. It pulses. 3 short, 2 long, 1 long, then it stops. Then it starts again. We checked for electromagnetic bleed. No readings. Vincent ran diagnostics on the capacitors. All green. But the lights keep doing it. Same rhythm. 3, 2, 1. Kayla noticed something first. Said, "It's not a fault. It's a key." We didn't understand what she meant. Then she pointed to the girl. The one from the burned caravan. She's been quiet since the night they arrived. Hasn't spoken. But she hums. Over and over. The same melody. Until tonight, we thought it was just a child trying to soothe herself. Now we're not sure. Because the rhythm she hums matches the light pulses. 3 short, 2 long, 1 long. Geneva pulled out the Relay North packet again. Ran it through an old DoD compression tool. There, buried in the garbage string at the tail of the message. A waveform. We played it. The hum matched. Exactly. The girl has never heard the Relay North signal. Not unless it's inside her. Not unless it was always there. We don't know her name. She won't say it. But she drew another map today. Didn't give it to anyone. Just taped it to the inside wall of Corridor F. When we found it, Vincent stared for 10 minutes without speaking. Then he said, "That's not a town. That's the dam." He was right. The coordinates trace to Hoover Dam, or what's left of it. But the way she drew it, it's intact. Alive. She even wrote something across the top in block letters. They plugged the sun here. We don't know what that means. But the dam was a massive energy node. And if anyone was trying to mirror heat, or rewire light, or control atmospheric pressure, it would have started there. Geneva thinks the girl is tuned, not psychic, not supernatural. Just linked, hardwired into whatever system came before the fall. Kayla asked her, gently, "Where did you hear the humming?" The girl stared at her for a long time, then whispered, "I didn't hear it. I forgot it." That's when the lights stopped flickering. Just stopped. Full power, clean feed. We checked the meters. Nothing changed, except the hum was gone. Like it had passed through, or finished doing what it needed. We haven't told the others. Only a few of us know. Geneva wants to run cognition scans on the girl, but Kayla won't let her. Says she's not a test. Says she's a warning. I believe her. But that's not the only voice we heard tonight. Ellis came back. Signal was faint, choppy. Vincent picked it up around 1:40 a.m., deep band skip on 42.35 megahertz. The voice barely came through. But it was him, Ellis. He's alive, still underground. But he's moved. We traced the transmission to somewhere near Lake Michigan, under it. We're not sure how. But the signal scatter puts him just below the eastern shelf, probably in the old aquifer tunnels. That's 100 feet down. He said, "Still breathing. Found water. Not alone. The lake is warm. Too warm. Something is moving in it." Then static. No return since. But he made it. We don't know how. But he did. And his last words. Something is moving. Not someone. Something. It's been 71 days since the first burn wave. Every system should be dead by now. But they're not. They're changing. And maybe we are too. This is ECH07. Still here. Still listening. Still watching the dark try to remember what light used to mean. If you're near the lake, or the dam, or anything that hums when no one's near it, don't run, don't hide. Just write your name on the wall, so we know you existed, even if they forget. A new voice came through tonight, not the Ark, not Ellis. This was shorter, colder, almost automatic. Came in at 3:12 a.m. on the long wave backup, low gain, high frequency skip bouncing across half a continent. Vincent ran it through the filter 4 times before we could make anything out. All it said was, "Unit breached, personnel 04 unresponsive, Omega exit compromised, dam integrity unknown, containment no longer viable. Repeating, do not restore light, do not restore light, do not." And then it cut. Just like that. But we got the source. Somewhere near Hoover Dam, maybe inside it. Geneva checked the timestamp against the girl's latest drawing. She'd sketched the dam again this morning, before the message. Only this time she drew a crack in the center. Big. Splitting the base. And in red marker, she circled it. Red circles. That's new. After the message came in, she walked straight to the wall in Corridor B, where we write names, and started drawing red circles again. Over some of the names. Not all. Just some. Some of them are survivors we know. People who are still here. Still alive. But others are names we haven't spoken aloud in weeks. People who died early. Geneva asked her, "What does the red mean?" She didn't answer. She just drew 3 more. Then she turned to Vincent, looked him in the eye, and said, "You don't have a circle. Yet." She walked away after that. Didn't speak again. Kayla found her curled up near the emergency generator, humming softly. Same rhythm. 3 short, 2 long, 1 long. Vincent hasn't spoken since. Just keeps looking at the name wall. Watching. Waiting. I don't think he's afraid. I think he's preparing. The air's getting heavier. Not hotter, heavier. We feel it in the hallways. The way it hangs behind your ears. How you have to take longer to breathe. We checked CO2 levels. They're unchanged. Oxygen's still above safe minimum. But something's wrong. Geneva thinks the outer shell is losing insulation. That heat is crawling in through the rock, atom by atom. But I think it's more than that. I think the air is remembering, like the sky did, like the heat, like the hum. There's a pressure now that feels like a thought you can't finish. A weight behind your ribs that says, don't speak too loud, don't think too far ahead. Kayla started wearing a mask again. She says it's just a precaution, but I saw her shaking when she put it on. We've stopped running full lights in the corridors. Low beams only, just enough to see, because of what the message said. Do not restore light. What happens if we do? What happens if someone wants it dark? The ridge was designed for a low-power operation, but even now, we're using more than we should. We're draining the backup cells faster than Geneva expected, and the hum is back. In the walls this time. Not electrical. Resonant. Software deep. Like breath. I've tried to trace it. No source. It just is. Like the hum came with the heat. And now it's inside us. I asked Kayla what she thinks the circles mean. She said, they're not death marks. They're resonance marks. I asked what that meant. She said, they're who the world is remembering. Not the world before. The one after. The one we're walking into now. We can't stop it. Not anymore. But we can record it. We can write down every sound, every circle, every name. We can remember ourselves before whatever's next. The girl started drawing again just before this recording. This time, not a place, not a name, a mirror. And inside it, she drew a room that looks exactly like Ridge Station, except it's upside down. This is ECH07. Still here, still trying to breathe, still hoping the walls hold one more night. If you hear me, if you feel the air press in and the lights start to hum, don't run, don't panic, just remember who you are. Because the world is choosing now, who it keeps and who it forgets.